Hey everyone, happy college football. Welcome to Porcelain Picks. I'm your host, Andrew Fabian, and today I'm going to be diving into Week 7's edition of our college football picks and analysis. We at Porcelain Picks bring you the locks you need as you scroll atop the porcelain throne. All right, so we're jumping into Week 7's action, coming off of Week 6 to forget. Many great games. We did not have a good showing for you. We ended up going 6-9 on the week last week. So we'll put that behind us. We are 51-36 on the season. So still bringing you those locks, and we commit to doing better each week. All right, drop a subscribe, hit the subscribe button in the bottom, follow our picks, follow our analysis, follow our accountability segments. All right, we've got a Week 7 ahead of us with 20 matchups we're going to pick between me and between Joey Mack with his two Maction picks of the week. Weather is going to be a factor this week. We've got some overs and unders for you. We've got some big games and big matchups, so let's jump into the noon hour. All right, first game we're going to pick, we got the Florida State Seminoles playing host to the Syracuse Orange. Syracuse is coming off a deafening defeat last week. They got hit in the teeth, and I think they're reeling headed into this game with Florida State. We like Florida State and Jordan Travis to have a big game. They've got a couple big games on their schedule coming up that this could be a little bit of a trap game for them, but we don't think so. We think Florida State comes out and just puts an emphasis on this game. They're going to come out swinging. -18.5 is the current spread. Lock it up for the Seminoles. Lock it. Flush it, Florida State -18.5. Let's move on. Georgia going to Vanderbilt to play the Commodores. Vanderbilt's just a bad team this season in the SEC. They came in, they had a decent season last year, but they're just getting steamrolled all over the place this year. Georgia finally gets their game together last week, playing host to Kentucky in what many thought would be a tight battle. Georgia comes into this game a 31.5-point favorite. Carson Beck got going last week at quarterback. Their running game got going, and they're going to continue to roll today. Their defense is going to hold Vanderbilt off the board for much of this game. I see a 45-7 type finish. Take the dogs, -31.5. Lock it, flush it. All right, off to Tuscaloosa. Coach Saban, Alabama bouncing back. Jalen Milroe with a big game last week to come up with that victory against A&M and against the A&M crowd. So they're playing host to Arkansas. Bama is a 19.5-point favorite. Over-under is set at 45.5. Arkansas's offensive line has been having issues all season long in front of star quarterback KJ Jefferson, who's been having a phenomenal year for the Razorbacks. I think Alabama and their bounce back, I think they're going to be too much against Arkansas. I think their defense is going to show up. While Bama doesn't have a running game, I think they do get it going a little bit today. Jalen Milroe is going to put together an interception-less contest here, and I think he can lock it and flush it for Bama, -19.5. We're also going to take the over in this game. I think Arkansas is going to put up some points. KJ Jefferson is a good quarterback, so take the over 45.5. All right, we're going to go up to Michigan, where we do expect to get some downpour rain coming in on Saturday throughout the day. The Wolverines are 33.5-point favorites, playing host to Indiana. Indiana's really a bottom feeder in the Big Ten this year. They're a bottom rushing attack. I think they're ranked 119th in the country, going up against Michigan, who's number 3 rushing defense in the country. J.J. McCarthy has been putting together a lot of great performances here. Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, they're going to run wild over Indiana. Whether it rains, whether it's sunny out, take Michigan 33.5. This is never going to be a contest. Lock it, flush it. We'll stay in Michigan here for the Joey Mack, Maction Lock of the Week number 1 of 2. This is a noon matchup between Eastern Michigan and Kent State. Kent State, one of the worst offenses in college football this year. Joey Mack comes into this with a 7.5-point spread. Behind Eastern Michigan, take EMU, lock it, flush it, -7.5. We'll continue to fade Kent State throughout the year. Again, they lost a lot of good talent to the transfer portal. All right, let's jump to Penn State. We got Penn State playing host to UMass. Penn State comes off a bye, 41.5-point favorites in State College. Again, weather is going to be a big factor here. It's going to be cold. It's going to be terrible weather. Penn State's only going to have to play their starters in the first half. I think Drew Aller's going to come up with a couple big pass plays this game after Penn State gets called out. James Franklin gets called out in the press conferences this week. But ultimately, the backups are going to get a lot of playing time. Bo Pribula is going to be playing quarterback for Penn State the whole second half. I think he'll start to sling the game around. They're going to get some meaningful reps. They're going to get the backup some scores, as we've seen James Franklin do. Take Penn State minus 41.5. Lock it, flush it. Death, taxes, James Franklin covering the spread. Let's move on. All right. Biggest game of the day, college game day. Washington playing host to the Oregon Ducks out in the Pac-12. This could be one of the biggest matchups of the year. Two colossal quarterbacks here between Bo Nix with the Ducks, Michael Penix Jr. with Washington. Both of these guys are going to be playing in the NFL next year. I think Bo Nix, with the weapons that he has, and Troy Franklin is going to be able to throw the ball a bit. Oregon's defense is really stout this year for a Pac-12 team. I also think Oregon can run the ball. They are a balanced attack, but this game is in Washington. Game day is going to be there. They haven't had a game this big at home since the days of Jake Locker. I think Michael Penix is going to show up and show why he is the top Heisman favorite at the moment. Washington, -3, lock it, flush it. The over-under is set at 65.5 so far. This is going to be a high-scoring battle between these two offenses. I do think Oregon slows down Penix a bit, but 65.5 is too low. Take the over, lock it, flush it. This one's a track meet. All right, let's go to opposite side of the spectrum. All right, so we got Oklahoma State playing host to Kansas. Kansas is without Jalen Daniels for this matchup. He's hurt. They do win games without him, as they've shown. But the play in this game is the under. All right, Oklahoma State last week was solid in their win against Kansas State. Their defense is pretty solid, but they struggle to put up over 30 points. Over-under in this game set at 55.5. Take the under, lock it, flush it. All right, Central Michigan back up to the rainy weather. All right, this is Joey Mack's Maction lock of the week number 2. Central Michigan is 10-point favorites hosting Akron. Akron's potential NFL quarterback DJ Irons unfortunately tore his ACL a couple games ago against Buffalo. This team has a bad offensive line and a backup quarterback playing. Central Michigan had a bunch of turnovers last game. We think they're going to bounce it back. Joey Mack is taking Central Michigan -10. Lock it, flush it. That's Maction pick of the week number 2. All right, we're going to jump to Iowa, Wisconsin. So the Big Ten West, oof. All right, 35.5 is the over-under in this game. Perhaps a stinker of the week if one of these teams puts up a goose egg. Braylon Allen on Wisconsin is probably the one bright shining spot in this game. He's going to get going a bit, but he goes up against the Iowa defense that we all know is very stout. Take the under in this game. We're going to keep fading Iowa on the points until they prove us wrong. Under 35.5. Lock it, flush it. All right, let's jump again to the other side of the coin. We got LSU playing host to Auburn. We all know LSU could put up a ton of points. That was a track meet. Really fun game against Missouri last week. Back and forth. They were lucky to escape with a win after that pick 6, and they covered for us. That was lucky as well. Jaden Daniels is an excellent quarterback. This guy can sling the ball around. He can run. He can do everything for them. We've got Neighbors, their wide receiver, who's going to be a great pro. Over-under in this game is also set at 60.5. Auburn is a bit ho-hum on the defensive side. I think LSU is going to be putting up points. Auburn can score the ball, though. So take LSU in this game -10.5. Lock it, flush it. I also want you to take the over, 60.5. Lock it, flush it. I see this being maybe a 37-20 type game. 47-20 type game. I think LSU is really going to pour on some points here. So the over is going to hit 2. All right. So let's go on. We've got UNC playing host to Miami. All right. Last week, Mario Cristobal was the stinker of the week with that awful run call at the end when they had that game won against Georgia Tech. They decided to run the ball and fumbled. They end up losing. Stinker of the week, Mario Cristobal. So the big question coming into this game is, how did Cristobal address his team? If it was anything other than going into the locker room, dropping to his knees, saying, everybody, I lost the game with my coaching. I think he's going to lose that Miami locker room. I do think this team will rally a bit behind him. I don't see UNC blowing them out. It's a 3-point spread in North Carolina. I like the Tar Heels in this one. -3, lock it, flush it. We also have the over-under in this game set at 56.5. Drake May on UNC can really sling the ball around. He's going to be a pro next year. He'll be a first-round pick. Tez Walker, the Kent State transfer, this kid can play. He's a great wide receiver. I think he'll get going. On the other side, the Hurricanes, we had Tyler Van Dyke, the quarterback. He had 3 interceptions last week. I think he's going to clean it up a bit, and he'll be able to sling the ball around. Miami's defense is okay, too. I think they might cause a turnover. 56.5, over. Lock it. Flush it. Let's go. Kentucky going to Missouri. We've got Kentucky hosting Missouri. We've got Kentucky +2.5 in this game. We've been picking favorites all day. Kentucky got blown out last week by Georgia, so this is going to be how can Devin Leary and how can Ray Davis bounce back? Can Ray Davis get his running game going again? I'm not sure about that. Missouri's defense looked terrible against LSU, but they can really sling the ball around. Brady Cook, this quarterback is a baller. Write this name down. This kid is someone you've never heard of until maybe last week against LSU. And then you got Luther Burden, one of the best wide receivers in the country. Missouri can put up points. They're playing in Kentucky. I think Kentucky bounces back, but I see this being too tight a spread. I think Missouri is going to be able to throw the ball around in the weather. Might not be a downpour, but there's going to be some rain. I like Missouri to win this game. They're 2.5-point dogs. Take Missouri to win. They're going to put up some points here. I think that quarterback to wide receiver connection is going to keep growing stronger and stronger. Missouri to win. They're 2.5-point favorites. All right, so that's 1 unit to win, just over 1 unit. All right, so let's go to one of the biggest games of the night as well. USC going to South Bend to face Notre Dame. Notre Dame coming off another gut-wrenching defeat. They got just outmanned by Louisville last week. They've been on a tough road stretch, going to Duke and then going to Louisville after that rough defeat at the hands of Ohio State. But they're back home in South Bend. They're 3-point favorites to USC. Caleb Williams has been dragging this team win to win on his back. They've escaped near defeats against Arizona State, against Arizona, against Colorado, all lesser teams with lesser defenses than Notre Dame. This over-under is 60.5. Sam Hartman had a terrible game last week against Louisville. He was picked off 3 times. Audric Estime never got going as Louisville locked him down. I think the home crowd's going to be the difference in this one. It's a means to reset for the Fighting Irish. I like Notre Dame to come out and win. I think the home crowd's the difference. Take the Irish, -3, lock it, flush it. I also like the under in this game. Again, Caleb Williams has been throwing the ball around. This kid's an excellent player, but this team is terrible. Notre Dame also hasn't been able to get the points on the board lately, so I see this going under 60.5. In South Bend, there's also going to be some weather. Lock that under and flush that under. All right, last pick of the night, we've got UCLA at Oregon State. So another Pac-12 battle. This might be one of the deepest conferences in college football this year, perhaps the best conference, top to bottom in college football. You've got DJ Uiagalelei with Oregon State. He's going to have himself a decent game. UCLA, though, does have a stout defense. We don't like the spread in this game. I'm leaning Oregon State, but I'm not gonna lock that one down. What I do like is the under in this game. It's set at 54.5 right now. Both defenses are pretty solid. I think UCLA's defense is strong. Dante Moore, who is a great quarterback. He's a freshman from UCLA. I've talked about him on past versions. He's having a tough season. He's not throwing the ball around like he was expected to. I think the defenses show up to play. So take that under 54.5. Okay. So if you've stuck with us this long, thanks for being a follower of Porcelain Picks. Again, we are here to bring you the locks you need as you scroll atop the porcelain throne. Thanks for sticking with us. 20 picks. Let's win some money. Drop a subscribe to follow us. Let's see how we perform this week. It's a bounce back week for the Porcelain Boys. Lock it and flush it, everyone. Happy Saturday. Happy college football. Let's go.